Live, this is 24-Hour News 8.
Hi everyone, I'm Marley Ginter. We have a special show for you tonight at 7 o'clock. First, the headlines. A teen charged in a vicious street-side beating that allegedly stems from road rage. 18-year-old Christian Hillman is accused of the attack. Witnesses tell us he stomped on 64-year-old William McFarland's face and then took off on a dirt bike. McFarland is still in the hospital. Investigators tell us he may not survive. Some drama in a Ludington courtroom today after the Attorney General's office asked the judge in Sean Phillips' trial to disqualify himself. The AG's office says the judge had inappropriate, or at least the appearance of inappropriate, conversations with a retired judge from another county about the merits of murder cases when no body has been found. Sean Phillips is on trial for the murder of his 4-month-old daughter, baby Kate, even though her remains are still missing. The judge declined and remains on the trial. And now to an historic day for our largest school district. Grand Rapids Public Schools used to lose anywhere from 400 to 600 kids a year, but on this count day, they learned they've gained 160 students, the biggest gain in decades. And checking out the radar, a round of rain is moving out of West Michigan, and it will be more warm temperatures for tomorrow. But tonight, we are focusing our attention on the horrific, violent murders of these two West Michigan mothers, Jessica Herringa and Rebecca Bletch, and specifically the 46-year-old Muskegon man now charged with their murders. His name is Jeffrey Willis. Tonight, we're pulling off the mask, revealing other sides to him we have yet to see, and finding out how someone accused of doing such vile acts could live among us undetected.
At least in my career, I haven't run across an investigation or a gentleman like this, and I hope I never do again.
I trust my wife around him. I trust my kids around him. I think everybody liked him until this came out.
You know, that's what's scary about this, is that there are people out there that can live two different lives. Those are the people I guess we should be the most afraid of.
And tonight we are taking a very hard look into who Jeffrey Willis is and exposing his double life to attempt to understand how a suspected killer was able to lurk in our midst, but also to show that there were scattered signs and clues that he could be the monster he's now accused of being. Here's Target 8's Ken Kolker.
If Jeffrey Willis is everything police say he is, he's a serial killer, or was well on his way. That is, until a 16-year-old girl made a run for it on a lonely road, and police say Willis's stolen pistol jammed twice.
This individual, Mr. Willis, is a monster.
But Target 8 found there's much more to Jeffrey Willis than what is revealed in court documents.
It's scary to think that, you know, it really could be anyone.
It's hard to understand that your close friend, someone that you hung around with and you liked being around and that you've seen all this stuff with, had this double life.
A father, a grandfather, a good friend whose circle included a cop, a trusted coworker, a man never in trouble with the law, a guy who took his grandpa to breakfast every Sunday morning, a Salvation Army bell ringer. But it's not like Willis didn't show glimpses of his dark side along the way, like during a first date in high school.
It was a scary ride home, but he did take me home.
Or years later, the lewd comments at work about women's private parts.
Looking back now, I can say, yeah, he did do some things that were inappropriate.
Like when he was fired in 1999 from his custodian job at Edgewood Elementary School in Fruitport for looking at porn on the school computer. Or the time in 2007 he secretly videotaped a woman while following her out of the Sam's Club parking lot in Fruitport Township, leading to a police report that went nowhere. Until his arrest in May, though, nobody had put it all together.
That's what's scary about this, is that there are people out there that can live two different lives.
Especially, the Muskegon County prosecutor says, when the dark side is so dark, darker than anything he's seen in his career.
Well, to me, that says that he's very cold and calculating, because it does take some thought, it does take some effort. It does take really just some strategy in order to pull that off. And so you're not just doing that on a whim, you're not doing that on the fly.
The headline in the 1988 Fruitport High School yearbook on top of the track team's page seemed almost prophetic. Catch me if you can. Jeffrey Willis, a senior, was a sprinter, and a good one. That's him, front row, far left.
He was a little skinny kid that was pretty fast.
So well thought of that it was his quote that was featured on the track team's yearbook page. Track's a good sport because it teaches you respect for others. Willis grew up in Fruitport, one of 5 boys raised by middle-class parents. A woman who graduated with him from Fruitport High School remembers play dates when they were little, and she recalls a boy who grew into a good-looking jock.
He was that all-around, what you would consider good American kid. He was very popular with the grades ahead, the grades below, and he was very, popular in our class.
And very full of himself recalls another woman who met him at a high school track meet. She was 15, he was 17.
He was forward. He thought highly of himself, that he was charismatic. I mean, it wasn't just that he kind of was, it was that he thought that of himself, that he was smart, that he was a lot of things that girls should want.
One night they ended up on a 2-track in Fruitport, parking.
It went further than I wanted, and when I decided that was the point to stop, he did get quite angry. He felt he was maybe owed more.
She says she recently told that story to detectives who had tracked her down.
It was a scary ride home, but he did take me home.
She now shudders to think she dated a would-be serial killer.
When you look at him on TV, can you see that Jeff Willis that you dated when you were 15?
Yes, I kind of can, yeah. I mean, I never would have had any idea that was the person that he would become.
A longtime friend who ran track with Willis remembers Willis's porn collection, a collection he started not long after high school.
Back when he was single guys have that stuff. They do.
Yeah.
And he had boxes and boxes of it.
He says Willis watched it on his computer.
Was it pretty over-the-top porn, or I mean?
No, I think it was more, yeah, you could say it was kind of over the top.
But he says he saw nothing like the necrophilia police recently found on Willis's home computer.
I can't even imagine that. It doesn't.
Yeah.
That's just.
Yeah.
That's sick.
He thought Willis had tossed his porn collection when he got married 13 years ago. By that time, Willis had a daughter with another woman. That woman later died in a car crash.
He loved his wife immensely. I can't see where he lost it at. I don't know. But as far as I know, as much as he used to talk about, he loved her.
The prosecutor says Willis kept his dark side so secret that even his wife, now his ex-wife, did not know.
He was able to hide it from her very, very well.
And the prosecutor says Willis kept it from his close friend, Sean Stefanich, a Fruitport High School classmate who is an officer on the Norton Shores Police Department. It's the same department investigating Jessica's disappearance. It was Stefanich who Willis called from jail immediately after his arrest in May.
Listen, I've been arrested. I'm down at the jail. I need you to go get I need you to tell that she needs to either come down and I don't know what's going on. So, and then I need you to go make sure Hank is okay, I guess. Apparently they're at the house and they did my van and all kinds of so.
Willis's immediate family declined to talk to us. The friends and classmates we did talk to didn't want to be identified.
There's a backlash, okay? And like I said, people still don't talk to me. People look at me as I'm the person that's friends with that monster that,
The longtime high school friend worked with Willis for more than 15 years at Herman Miller in Spring Lake Township, both third shifters.
As far as I know, everybody liked him. He could talk to anybody you know, and you'd never know the monster walking on the other side of the curtain.
Willis, he says, would do anything to help a friend.
If I needed a trailer, he had extra trailer. If I needed some kind of tools that I didn't have, I'd come on over, get them, take them.
Willis had all kinds of jobs at Herman Miller, most recently driving a high-low and picking up leftover plastics and wood pallets for recycling. His friend says they played cribbage during breaks, played Xbox after work, shot target practice together.
I trust my wife around him. I trusted my kids around him. You know, there wouldn't be any time, like my wife said, any time during the night, if he'd have stopped over, she'd, yeah, come on in, Jeff, no problem.
But he also recalls some of Willis's crude comments to women at work.
But did he cross the line? I mean, obviously.
Yeah, quite a few times.
Like when he talked to a woman, a recent hire, about her private parts in crude language he was reluctant to repeat.
He'd do the majority of it one-on-one.
With the women?
Yep, where nobody else is around. Yeah. And he just kind of laughed about it and left.
He said he wasn't surprised when another coworker testified against Willis in a recent court hearing.
He asked for my panties quite a bit.
All right.
Always wanted a pair of my underwear.
When she testified that he asked her a question about her underwear.
I can see that.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
He wonders if Willis's weight, nearly doubling while working at Herman Miller, somehow played a role in how he treated women, or how Willis believed women were treating him.
A lot of it could have been his weight. Jeff got considerably big. He was close to 300 pounds.
Outside of work, his friend says Willis was closest with his cousin Kevin Bloom, a prison sergeant at West Shoreline Correctional Facility in Muskegon.
They've been tight, since childhood. They were close. They've been close. They're close all through all this.
Bloom is now charged with accessory after the fact, after he told police he saw Jessica Herringa, obviously dead, in the basement of Willis's dead grandfather's home. Bloom also told police he helped bury Jessica along old railroad tracks, a story he later recanted.
The only person that I know that knows anything about Jeff, and if there's any secrets left with Jeff, would be Kevin. Them two are tighter than Siamese twins.
The longtime friend is not sure when, but in recent years, Willis became obsessed with a fantasy game, Magic: The Gathering. It's a game much like Dungeons and Dragons, played one-on-one with cards.
You got cards and you're flipping over, and this one here challenges that one, this one challenges that one, this one can beat that one because of the different powers. It's just all, it's like chess, but in cards.
Police say Willis was playing Magic: The Gathering on April 26, 2013, the night they say he kidnapped Jessica. He played at Points Mall, they said, right behind the Exxon gas station where Jessica worked. But police discovered this only recently.
I'm not into that. I never was. I know nothing about the game. I suspect as this moves along, I'm going to become an expert in what it is and what it meant. But
the prosecutor says he wants to know what, if anything, Magic: The Gathering says about Willis.
There's a niche out there where people enjoy, living in a world of fantasy as opposed to reality. And whether this was all part of his psyche and personality, that's for a doctor, an expert to tell me.
The longtime friend says he last talked with Willis at work, 3 hours before his arrest in May.
Willis, what did you plan to do with the girl?
His good friend was suddenly accused of kidnapping a 16-year-old girl who had gotten lost in April while walking home in Fruitland Township. She allegedly jumped from his moving van, and it was her escape that eventually led to his arrest.
I really thought he was going to kill me, and I thought he was going to take me.
But his friend thought this had to be a misunderstanding.
Maybe he was trying to give her a ride, she overreacted, jumped out because he turned one wrong way or something like that there, and it got blown up.
Then his friend learned about the rape and bondage tools police found in Willis's silver minivan. The handcuffs, syringes, rope, chain, metal hook, sex toys, the video camera, and the necrophilia videos, the kidnap and kill videos with real-life kidnappings and murders that they found on his computers, and a list of serial killers.
So then I can understand now a lot of stuff. You start getting into stuff like that, something's going on up in your head.
The search of Willis's home also revealed he had been stalking women for years, keeping photographs, addresses, dates of birth, though none of those women ended up dead.
It makes me nauseous to think about it, to be quite honest. Yeah. Because you think, what if,
Now Willis is charged with murdering Rebecca Bletch, a married mother of two, shot 3 times while out jogging near her home in 2014. And last month he was charged with kidnapping and killing Jessica, a single mother of one whose body has not been found since she disappeared in 2013.
You see it on TV and you think, man, how can somebody not see that? I'm that person, I just didn't see it.
He's angry at his friend.
I'm angry big time. I'm angry that he crossed that line. I'm angry that he did this to these women, these families, these parents, their siblings.
But he also tears up at the loss of friendship.
I miss him immensely.
Yeah.
I miss being around him. I apologize for this. I miss, he was my friend. He was, it's his journey has taken him someplace where he shouldn't be. And now he's got to pay. He's got to stand up and be a man and take it.
He says he has many questions for Willis.
Being that we were friends for so long, I'd kind of like to know where the breaking point was. I don't know. I've never seen it. I have no idea. I pound myself in the head trying to figure this out. Where was the snapping point?
And like everybody else, he wants to know where Jessica is, though he expects his friend will play it out, like a game of Magic, The Gathering.
He won't reveal anything until he's ready to reveal it. That's like with Jessica. If he moved her body, that's his trump card. He's not going to reveal that until he's ready to reveal that.
He's that smart?
He's that smart. If it's enough, Jeff will play that card. Until then, he'll go to his grave with it. And I'm sorry to say it like that to the families, I really am. I hope like hell he mans up.
But you don't see it?
I don't see it.
And that was Ken Coker reporting. We reached out to Jeffrey Willis's attorneys on several occasions. So far, they have declined to comment about him or any of the allegations against him. In 1 minute, the scattered clues surrounding Willis and why he wasn't caught sooner. We'll discuss that with Target 8 investigator Ken Coker right after this break. One of the questions that has come up is, how is it that with all these scattered clues about Jeffrey Willis, police were not putting this all together sooner? Why did it take more than 3 years to catch up with him? Target 8 investigator Ken Coker is here to talk about that. Ken?
Yeah, Marla, we've talked to the prosecutor about that, and he basically talks about how they had all these different pieces kind of scattered around, but they just never, it's sort of like that not having the puzzle box with all these pieces.
You need to connect all the dots here, which really becomes the question, are departments talking enough with each other? Are different police departments putting their information together?
Yeah, exactly, and a good example of this is in 2007, when he was actually questioned by police in Fruitport Township, which is right next to Norton Shores, and he had followed a woman out of a Sam's Club parking lot, videotaped her. The woman had the wherewithal to actually get her his license plate number, and that led to Jeffrey Willis. They questioned him, wrote a police report, but then fast forward 6 years later, they get a tip about Jeff Willis in the Jessica Herringa investigation, and they actually check his van. That van has the same license plate that his car did 6 years ago. He wasn't driving the same vehicle.
Back when he had been following apparently a woman out of a store.
Right, he had a tan car, then it had a license plate that he transferred to the van. Van has the same license plate, but I talked to a source investigating this who said they didn't, when they in 2013 got a tip to check Jeff Willis's van, which they did, and they questioned him, they didn't know about that report in Fruitport Township.
Now, I think that's the question that a lot of people keep coming to. He was actually brought up, questioned after Jessica Herringa disappeared. They looked in his van, and for some reason, he was let go.
Yeah, and,
how could that be?
If the story his cousin Kevin Bloom told is true, when they moved Jessica Herringa's body, there was a tarp of some sort in the back of that van. And apparently he also had the van detailed after that. So there would have been none of that evidence. The kit he had later obviously wasn't there. Police didn't find that. They searched the van, they questioned Jeff Willis, asked him for an alibi. He said he was with his wife at home that night.
and now they have, since his arrest, you know, everything changed when that 16-year-old girl
Right.
escaped. And
That
all of a
really
sudden,
is what
it
shined the light on
circled-
everything.
It took them right back to Jeff Willis, and all of a sudden the phone records show his alibi doesn't work. He wasn't at home with his wife. He was at his grandfather's home where Kevin Bloom said he saw Jessica's body. So, you know, it's now all being tied together.
Did police drop the ball then?
You know, in talking to the prosecutor, they had hundreds of tips on silver minivans that they were tracking down. And they questioned a lot of people. He says they didn't. I mean, I think that's maybe to be judged when this is all done, but I think it's too early to say, but the prosecutor insists that that's not the case, that there were, you know, I think there were thousands of tips they were tracking down back then.
Right.
So,
Right.
and like he said before, these pieces were all over the place. And now that with a 16-year-old doing what she did, the heroic thing she did, you know, all of a sudden they had the puzzle box to look at, and they could start putting those pieces in place.
Now, this doesn't just date back to the 2007 incident you were talking about, though. In 1999, he was fired from having porn on a computer.
Yeah, he was at I think it was Edgewood Elementary School in Fruitport. He was a custodian there, and he got fired for that. But, you know, that's not a police report. There's no police report there.
Right, another way that it would not all be
and now it's
connected.
another piece. So,
Just
and you
mind-boggling.
know, they also have since found out that he was stalking women. I mean, he had addresses and phone numbers and dates of birth, and but that's now another piece.
All of it really does bring chills. All right, Ken Kolker, thank you for all of that. And we do want to remind you that Ken will be talking live on Facebook from about 7:30 to 8 o'clock tonight to anyone who has questions about tonight's special report, what Ken learned during the investigation, and about where this case goes from here. So our focus tonight has been on the two faces of Jeffrey Willis, but the only reason for that is because of what he's accused of doing, killing two women, both innocent victims, both mothers. Jessica Herringa was 25, the youngest of three daughters, was working at the Exxon gas station in Norton Shores, where her family says customers loved her. She was raising a 3-year-old son who is now 7 and living with a relative. Jessica's disappearance in April 2013 led to national headlines. Her family held vigils, conducted their own searches, even hired a private investigator. Since Willis's arrest, they have declined to talk publicly. Rebecca Blech was 36, married with an 11-year-old daughter and a stepdaughter. She worked as an assistant occupational therapist and coached middle school girls basketball. Rebecca was out jogging alone near her home in Dalton Township, which she often did, when she was shot and killed in June 2014. Today at 5, we talked with Rebecca's father and sister live in studio.
We don't want to forget about your sister, and you bring photos of her just to keep her memory alive. Talk about how important that is for you.
The new norm for us is living without my sister, without his daughter. And every memory that we have, we try to share. There's not a day goes by that I don't share a story of my sister with somebody, anybody that will listen. You know, it's, like I said, it's the new norm. Not having her here, you know, all I have is her memories to share. And that's what I'll do.
Now, there is another Muskegon County murder that police are looking at Willis for, but so far there has not been any new movement in this investigation. Officers are trying to find out if Willis had anything to do with 15-year-old Angela Thornburg, whose partially clothed body was found in the woods by a hunter almost exactly 20 years ago near I-96 and Fruitport Road. The case was ruled a probable homicide, but there have never been any arrests. Angela's family has told us that police have called them and pulled her case file to investigate Willis, but so far police have not told us anything about how that investigation is going. Meantime, Rebecca's family has been to every court hearing, every press conference since Willis's arrest. They say that they do plan to attend his trial in December for Rebecca's murder. Stay with us.